Right, question 16. So question 16 is wanting us to apply a zero-based budgeting. So we ignore last year and the inflation. If it was asking for incremental, then that would matter. But here we are purely starting from scratch. And what does that mean? We are expecting 630 students for 180 days at a cost of £2.10. And so we literally will work with that times 2,010, and that will take us to £238, 1,140. And that is question 16. Question 17 is really saying, listen, you've stopped using your typical annual incremental revenue budget, and what we're now doing is using a different method that is, if you like, holistic. It's looking at qualitative factors. So we know that's not zero-based budgeting. We know that's not activity-based. It's almost asking. It's looking at cash flows. You're basing it around profits. You're looking at ratios. So it's quite a round budget. This is if you like, this typically tends to be a specific project type of budget approach. But this idea of beyond budgeting is really saying we're thinking beyond the numbers, and the fact that it mentions qualitative factors is the key driver there to give you the answer there of C. So here we are doing the high-low. We're applying the high-low activity here to find out what we use the high-low methodology. It's a rough method to assess and try and find out to tackle semi-variable costs, right? Semi-variable costs. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if we understand what the graph looks like, we can use basic mathematical concepts to find fixed costs and variable costs, which is the rate of change as we produce the cost with the changing time, with in this case with quantity. So what we do is we find that we almost create a bit of an extrapolation, or if you like, a trend, and we say, well, what is the lowest thing here? And that's 128. And what is the highest here? We have 320. And we find their corresponding costs. So we have 58.40 here, and we have 116 pounds. So what we're trying to find out is how does cost increase with every hour of usage. So the only way to really do that is if we're sort of saying when this goes from here to here, this increases from here to here, doesn't it, in terms of cost? So I suppose if we do it in totals, we can find the average because we're interested in what happens when there's a 1 hour increase. So what do we have? Well, what we now have here is we have 116 minus £58.40 divided by 320 minus 128, right? And that's what we have. So let's do that very quickly. 106 minus £58.40 takes us to £57.60 divided by 320 minus 128, which is 192. So 57.6 divided by 192 is 30p. So we have a variable cost of 30p. So now that I know my variable cost, I can pick one of these and plug in to find out what the total cost, the fixed costs are, because I know the total costs are equal to fixed costs plus variable costs. So if I'm paying 30p an hour, therefore for 128 hours, the total variable cost is £38.40. So what I should be asking is, well, what is the total cost at this time? And it's £58.40. So if the total cost is £58.40 and the variable cost is £38.40, the fixed cost must be £20. And so your answer is B. Yes, your answer is B. Question 18. Question 19. So what we have here is that we have a situation where we are told that you have the estimated costs of 750,000 for a total of 5,000 buses So you have 750,000 divided by 5,000. So in a way, you can find what the cost is per bus, if you like, right? Per bus, which is because we're isolating. We've isolated the 750 to these 5,000 buses, which take you 750 divided by 5, and that takes you to £150 a bus in terms of motor servicing costs. So with 20 minibuses, you are literally multiplying the two, and that takes you to the 3,000. Okay, right. So this is question 20. I actually had to put it on a separate sheet just because it is a very busy question. You have a number of people. Well, you have someone. Um, you have someone leaving us. You have someone joining us. So let's look at it. It says that you have a municipal authority. This is the current budget. And next year we want to put all the expectations in, right? We want to put all the expectations in. And that expectation, the key expectation is this 1% change only from the 1st of January. So for 3 months. I think that's the key point. So 3 months. So this 1% is if it was a year. If it was for 12 months, right? That's what the interest rise would be. But if it's going to be for 3 months, it really is then, in effect, 3/12ths of 1%, which is really 0.25%, right? Because it's a quarter, isn't it? Or a quarter percent, if you think about that. So anyway, let's look at the scenario. How you should, I think, best deal with this is to say, listen, these are the current situation of 24,700,000. Let's get rid of that director who's leaving. Let's treat them separately because that director actually doesn't get any of the pay rise. So let's not mix things up. Let's get rid of them. So you can see the first thing I do is to take this 72,000 out of this to have remaining workers of 24,628,000 and so on. Then now you get a pay rise for these guys because they're the ones remaining. Let's do them first. And their pay rise, of course, is 1% for the year, but really it is 0.25% or 0.25 of a percent. That's the real increase just for 3 months. So therefore, we need to increase this by, if you like, 0.25 of a percent. So one way of just doing that is multiplying it by 1.0025 because if you like, it's 0.25 of a percent. It's not 1%. It's not even up to 1%. So if it was 1%, we would be saying whatever 2,462,8,300 times 1.01. You know, that's 1% right there, right? That's 1%. But when I say 1%, that's 1/100, right? But here we're dealing with 0.025. So if you break this up into 4 parts, you're gonna have, because if you like 0.025 times 4 is equal to 0.01. So hopefully you can see how we're arriving at that. Okay, right. So I'll just get rid of. Sorry, let's just see how that works. Yeah, let's get rid of that. 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 So we multiply that, and then we get this new wage situation. Yes, that's the new for the existing workers. Then you have this director who's leaving, but they're still with you for 5 months. So you pay them 72 grand a year, but they're with you for 5 months. So this is the wage of the director who's leaving, but we're still paying them for 5 months, and so that's equal to 30,000 because we need to budget until they leave, or until when they leave. Then I have this new director who has an annual amount of 64,600. But they will be with us for just 6 months because they're joining us on the 1st of October, I believe it is, which is 6 months. And they will only get, so we need only half of their salary. That's all we can budget for, half of their salary. Then they will also get a 3-month increase because, again, they'll get, it's not, a year is 1%, but they're going to get, again, the same thing, 1.025 on top of their salary. And that's what we do here. So the new salary is just whatever it is they're getting times the amount, if you like, the percentage increase. And that's what we have here of 32,380. So add all that together and you will arrive at this 247 247 yeah 200 and sorry 24,752,251. Yes, and that looks like C. Yes, your answer there is C. You have C as your answer for that. Cool, great stuff. And that concludes these first set this set of questions from 15 to 20. Okay.